Look, I'm in the newspaper for Intersex Awareness Day. How did you celebrate? I hope you shared all my videos and followed me on Twitter and had a lot of fun and told all of your friends what intersex was. So you probably did. Good job. Hi, welcome back to Intersex Experiences. If you caught my video last week, hopefully you learned something about being androgen insensitive. If you haven't seen that yet, click here and I'll post a link because otherwise this video might be a little confusing. Again, I'm not a doctor, nor am I a scientist, nor do I represent all intersex people. I'm just one intersex person who's going to take the next 2 videos to talk to you about 3 different intersex surgeries that happen. Intersex babies and youth get operated on all the time with or without their informed consent. So this won't be the first time you hear me talking about surgery. For AIS people specifically, there are usually 3 main surgeries that could happen. And the first one I'm going to talk to you about is called a gonadectomy, or removal of the gonads. So if you remember from last week, gonads in AIS people mean testes, so removal of the testes. Now I'm not talking about the surgeries that happen because of some sort of medical risk, because sometimes that can happen. What I'm talking about are the vast majority of surgeries on intersex people that are not medically necessary. And for AIS people, gonadectomies usually are not. A lot of doctors assume they are necessary because of statistics they have on typical cisgender XY men. Their testes will descend into the scrotum or ball sack because it gets too hot for them in the body. And that's why the scrotum will shrink up when it gets cold or extend down when it's hot, so that will regulate the temperature of the testes. But for intersex people like me, we don't need that sort of temperature regulation. My body doesn't rely on the sperm or other things in those testes that those men rely on. What my body relies on is the hormones. So that means when someone's gonads or testes are removed, they have to go on hormone replacement therapy, HRT, for the rest of their life to try to get those hormones back that they're not producing anymore. If you remember from my last video, hormones can be really tricky to deal with, so HRT is very, very important. But it can be really hard to regulate your hormones or to find the right levels of hormones. The struggle to find your right hormones doesn't just happen with intersex people, it happens for anyone who takes hormones or birth control. It can be really hard to find what works for your body. So you can imagine how it is when doctors remove someone's testes without their permission or consent, or without giving them all the information they need to make an informed decision about their body and give fully informed consent. You're going to hear this term a lot, informed consent. That means that when someone consents to or gives permission to have surgery, their doctor has given them all the reasons for said surgery, any possible alternatives instead of the surgery, all the actual proven risks and statistics, and reasons they might need surgery, everything that could go wrong during the surgery, and all the proper care and maintenance after the surgery. Plus they have to be at an age where they can make an informed decision about their body without any pressure from the doctors. That is informed consent. My doctors told me I'd get testicular cancer unless I removed my testes. But like I said, that's not informed consent because that's not actually even true. Sometimes doctors don't give accurate or full information, or they'll try to pressure their patients or their parents into making a decision. One time about 2 years ago, I had this doctor at UCLA tell me this horror story of a patient with a different intersex variation than me who got ovarian cancer in her ovary. I don't even have ovaries, but that was her trying to pressure me and to scare me into having surgery. That's not informed consent. That's like telling someone, oh, this person completely unrelated to you had cancer in their leg once, so we're gonna have to remove yours too. No, that's not how that works. Another example, I know a few people who were not told they'd have to go on HRT for the rest of their lives until after this life-altering surgery was over. How is that informed consent? Oh, by the way, you're going to have to take these pills for the rest of your life after I remove this perfectly functioning body part. Don't you think that's something someone should know? In other instances, many doctors have even lied about removing the testes, some saying they were already cancerous, or some not even telling the patients that they were testes, saying, oh, your ovaries have cancer, so we're going to remove them, and that's why you're never going to have kids one day. None of that is informed consent. None of that is okay. Nowadays, it seems like doctors are being more open and honest with their patients. A lot of those lies happened over the last 20 to 50 years, so fortunately that part seems to be changing, but it still does happen across the world. Know that you have a right, whether you're intersex or not, to have fully informed consent before any medical procedure is performed on your body. To do otherwise is a violation of your human rights, and I'm sorry on behalf of everything doctors have done that have made me make this video. Now I know that's a lot of information about crappy things that have happened on intersex people, so let's just take a breath. Okay, so this was already a lot of information, and I still have 2 more surgeries to talk about in regards to androgen-sensitive people, so I'm going to save that for my next video. For now, if you learned something in this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what you thought about all of this in the comments below. If you want to be the first to get the next part of this conversation, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week. XOXY! Nah.